let's listen to Coach T. Mitch here, defensive coordinator for the Arkansas Razorbacks. And if you do recall, he's the one that freestyled in front of the team, and they all said, yeah, coach, in the middle of it, had them all bought in. Here's what he had to say about sign stealing. Once again, remember, dog on the football field as a player, now defense coordinator in college.
Oh, a lot. Like, it's so funny. You'll be shocked. During the week, I know offense all around the country. They're going to get the TV copy, and they looking at the signals. Yeah, just one person. That's your only job. Look at the signals. And then, boom, we can't get the defensive signals. Okay, well, let's see what the defensive players are signaling. Then they'll try to get it that way. So they got different ways. I remember we played Louisville, and he was really good. And I saw the TV copy, and I could just see the whole time he's just like this, just watching. And then at halftime, they got the signals. So we played him the next year. I was at UCF. We played him that next year, and I got his contact, and I called him. Like, hey, man, I need to. And he sent me the whole thing. And he said, this is what we had. And it was like 80% correct. So we had to change our signals because they just pass it around. So they're just sending it to the next. So we played SMU and Red Lashley to them, and they had the same signals. I wasn't mad that he sent it around. I would have been mad if we didn't change it. So it's huge, like just signals, and it's perfectly legal. I know teams right now that have two guys on the field because you usually have them in the box. So all the times you see a lot of these teams behind the actual team, they pull out these big curtains behind it. If it wasn't important, they wouldn't be doing it. 80% of the teams in America, when they signal, they pull out the big curtain behind so the guys in the press box can't get them. Well, they done smarten up. They done put them on the field. So they got two guys, and they just sit here and try to get it. So you got to have ways of hiding your signals, So you can always know, like, when a play happened, you go, hey, man, they got our signals. Because it's just like a perfect play. You just know. All over college football. So that's not, it's nothing new. It's not one of those deals where it's like unethical or something like that. Like, they do it. If you're crazy enough to keep the same signals, that's on you.
That's Coach T. Will. I call it T. Mitch. That's 100% on me. But Coach T. Will basically breaking down, I think, what every former player had to say about the sign stealing. I think why the Connor Stalions thing happened is because the advanced scouting rule that was in place. And I think if you were to watch this Untold entirely, he's saying that he exploited the rules. Like, I wasn't at the game. There was no coaches at the game. It was other people. Were they family friends? So I didn't know some of the people that were there. But sign stealing has been happening since the beginning. The conversation now from the coach to the quarterback and the ability to call into play to the Mike linebacker, they're obviously still going to use signs. But this entire thing of signal stealing is a weapon if you have a guy that's very good on it, good at it on your team. And Connor Stalions might have been the guy who was considered the greatest of all time, which leads me to saying that Harbaugh could literally not know that he was paying people or buying tickets and sending people going forward. Harbaugh could have definitely thought to himself, though, I got a good sign stealer on my sideline because every team has been looking for those since signs have been given in any sport, seemingly.
Yeah, like Coach said, like Coach T. Will said, you got to change them. And at the same time, this is going to be quad. It's like, these are going to be seams. Like, it's certain things. Brady had a signal. He would go like this, and that meant the outside receivers going up, the slot receivers breaking out. And he did it for 20 years. So, like, you can have signals, but you got to execute. Like, I think somebody, it's a tip when Trent Williams and it's a runners. When it's you got to execute. So, like, we would have. I've never been on a team where we didn't have a guy who gave us signals, who gave us offensive signals. Hey, this is what they get it from the TV copy. They'll get it from across the field. Sometimes you'll have three guys doing the signals, and one guy is the real guy. The other two are just smoke screen. So it's always, it's gamesmanship. It's going on week in and week out. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. But at the end of the day, you got to execute. We played Peyton Manning the first time he came back here. Obviously, Reggie has spent a bunch of time with him. And these quarterbacks, Aaron, Peyton, Drew, Tom, all these guys, they carry a lot of that same shit over. And they're more concerned about their guys being on the same page having the signal, so they're not going to out-trick themselves. Defense, you can have all you want. Reggie will tell us this, that, and the third, but, hey, don't get too caught up on this shit because he'll go and change it, and make sure you hear him call it, and you're like, hey, this is coming, and then they'll have some other option perfectly drawn up. So it's always been a part of the game. It is literally people's job to do it. Usually it's a quality control guy or whoever, what do they call the grad GAs on the college level. So it's always somebody. But at the end of the day, you got to execute. You got to get it done between downs. And more importantly, you got to be on the same page with your guys that we're doing what we need to be doing in quads coverage or in cover 2 or in cover 3, whatever that is.
The way the story was rolled out was as if it was out of a novel in a movie. And then we're listening to it. It kind of is. And I think at Connor Stalions' head, he was beating a rule with the advanced scouting. I wasn't telling it. If they sent it to me, they sent it to me. If I saw it, I saw it. And then he'd be able to put together a signed board for who they're playing against. I mean, it's like all those things that it feels like you went too far. Yeah, you just went we're all trying to do it. Yeah. But what you just went, you took advantage. And I think Connor Stalions said, is that my fault? Is that your fault? Who's saying where the line is like what Connor Stalions' question is, because if the rule says that I can't go or that coaches can't go, it doesn't say shit about somebody I meet on the internet that I just got tickets for. And if they want to happen to record some stuff and send it to me, even though I didn't tell them that, right? Ask the lawyer. I didn't say that, to my understanding, right? Yep. Okay, I did that. Very fascinating, this whole situation. I'll be intrigued to see what the NCAA does with the punishment, because you potentially open a Pandora's box for people to go back about the signed stuff, especially with what Coach T. Will just said right there.
And we saw Michigan play football last year.
Yeah.
Like boots on the ground. We saw them, I think, a couple games. We see Arkansas. Arkansas, what was their record? And everybody's doing it, but you got to go out there and execute. You got to have the players. You got to have the scheme. Everybody's doing it. And Connor definitely found some loopholes, and he went a little maybe too far. But it will be. It was interesting on my X at least. It was like people were split right down the middle. Oh, Harbaugh definitely knew. Harbaugh had no idea. So I'm interested to see once I watch the hour.
Connor Stalions got game ball against the Hawks.
He did, and it kind of just, reinforced my beliefs that, we were cheated, obviously. I mean, he was no, but it really, like we've talked about this. It's a perfect example just of, pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. Because if he would have just continued to kind of do it how everyone else is doing it, I'm sure, then whatever, you maybe get a slap on a wrist. But like, the smoking gun really, or I feel like when it kind of got to be like a massive deal is when they had that picture of him, like dressed up on the Central Michigan sideline. It's like, okay, well, if he's doing stuff like this, like maybe that is, he's not just having one of his buddies record signals at a different game. It's like this dude who is a staffer for Michigan is on a different university's sideline, like what the hell is he doing there? Yeah. Like, I feel like that's when it was really like, okay, something needs to be done about this.
And also, and we said this last year during the coverage of it all, and our show was used a lot in that documentary. I didn't know that was coming. So that's why we ran their shit too without asking.
Yep.
So, we can. Yeah.
Fair play.
Fair play. Good on you. And I think we might have Maverick Carter, who's one of the executive producers on it, on this week at some point to chit chat a little bit more about the entirety of the story. But it became the thing that took over college talk. And it's like, even if Harbaugh didn't know, they reaped the benefit of it.
Yeah.
They certainly reaped the benefit of everything that was happening, which is why the punishment is going to have to happen at some point and did happen at the time. But for their team not to blink after all that, imagine if they were able to continue to know everybody's signals. Like, did they have a backup signal guy? Because every other team they were playing against going forward certainly had people trying to decipher signals. Did Michigan have no signal people because they weren't allowed as they went on to win? It's almost like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Was it more impressive now that they weren't able to do anything? We shall see. Joining us now is a guy who probably knows a little bit about this because in the NFL, this is happening as well. In the NFL, there are certainly guys that make teams and are on sidelines because they have a very good understanding of what's happening on the other side of the field. Now, coaches obviously are expected to know this type of stuff, but if you have a quarterback or a player or a GA that understands what hand signals are for coverage on the backside of the other one and can see it, get it in, and get it to the quarterback before that 15-second time limit where they can't talk anymore, what an advantage.